for Fact or Fiction one more time. Fact or Fiction 21. My name is Phil, and you're listening to The Lip. Yeah, Fact or Fiction. I love these shows, as anyone who's ever heard me do a single show knows. I love Fact or Fiction. It's fun. It's kind of a game show sort of deal. It's kind of neat. I like it. It gives you a different perspective of the way that I do these episodes. I mean, most of the time I'm talking about a specific subject or some sort of story I'm trying to tell, but with Fact or Fiction, it's really just me giving you a few stories from me that are real and a few stories from me that are made up, and I ask you all to sort of identify which one is which. Just, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun for me personally. Hopefully, it's been as fun for you over the last, oh, 5 years and 21 Fact or Fiction episodes. Not to mention April Fools. It's all about Fact or Fiction every year. Love doing those April Fools shows. And of course, that's the only week that I actually don't have a show that comes out typically on the Saturday based on the way that they fall. Seems like April 1st for the last several years that I've been doing the show has been on sometime between, what do you call it, Monday and Wednesday because of the leap year that was in there. So most of them have not been on Saturday. However, I have been known to post a show on that Saturday, or at least pretend to post a show on that Saturday. A couple times, I believe, if memory serves me correct, I had a back-to-back posting of shows, which was a little off. But it's the way it worked because I needed it to work so that I would have a show the week before April 1st, and then I needed one that week of April 1st. And Fact or Fiction was sort of, I think it was like a Tuesday or a Monday that it came out, and the regular normal scheduled time is Saturday, and I had a show then, so it was like really only a couple days apart between the shows. That, of course, made it a little tight as far as, excuse me, as far as episodes would go. So it was really sort of like bang bang, one here right away. Here comes the next one. There wasn't a whole week to digest what was going on. It was just instantaneous, pretty much. Had to go right from one to the next, and I felt a little weird about it, but at the same time, I adapted, adjusted, and I do believe that the show was fine. It did at the time about the average number of watches or listens. I can't remember if it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Spotify show at the time that I did that with, when it was really, really close together. Um, but I'm pretty sure it did happen on YouTube. I don't think it did, but it might have. Who knows? Just the way things are sometimes. They just are what they are. You can't really do too much about it. But again, I can't wait to do this Fact or Fiction episode, and I wonder now how many of you can actually tell which ones are fact and which ones are fiction. I'm excited about it. So excited that I'm going to go into the main event right now. Bell has rung, and it is time for the main event, Fact or Fiction, number 21. Um, I'll start off by telling everybody a fact right away. It is an absolute fact that today is July 23rd, 2026, and this episode will be airing originally on August 1st, 2026. That's a fact. Had to bring that out there. But now, for those of you who have listened to the show before, you already know the rules. So, this is truly about the people who are, for the first time, listening to the Lip in general or to a Fact or Fiction episode. It's a very simple concept, but to me, personally, it's extremely enjoyable. I'm going to tell a story or statement, and I'm going to give you some time to decide whether or not that story or statement is either a fact about either something I have done personally or known has been done, or something that is completely fiction and I created it sometimes at the very spur of the moment. Like one episode, I actually came up with a fiction story while I was recording the episode. That can happen sometimes. But of course, at the end of the entire uh, of my delivery from all the statements or stories, that's when I'll give you some time. I usually just sort of sit quietly for a little while. A moment where you can take and pause and ponder and think about whether or not what I told you was fact or what I told you was fiction. Then I will go over them and tell you exactly which ones were fact and which ones were fiction. I enjoy it a lot because sometimes I think to myself, I really did that? Or that really happened? When it's something that's a fact. Other times, I'm like, man, I'm so glad that fiction thing didn't happen. Because we all know that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Now, it's time to begin. Let's see where we're going to start with. Deep breath. One time, when the kids were very young, not that they're not very young now, but much younger, which probably 5 years ago. Sounds about right for timing. We were living in a different area of Philadelphia. It was the first family move. And it was during a point in time where we didn't really know a lot about the neighborhood that we were moving to. And I knew that there was a park relatively close to us. And so I decided to take the three kids for a walk on my day off to go to that park and hit the slides and all that stuff like that. It's always fun to take the kids to the park. It's enjoyable. Now, at the time, doing the math, my youngest would have been 6, maybe 5. Hadn't quite turned 6, so that makes sense. And then there would have been, yeah, I think that's what it was. I believe it was 5. Then it was 7, and it was 8 were their ages at the time. So we're talking really young kids. One that was just getting out of the toddler stage, you know what I mean? Just out of that. And so we take this walk, start going down the street, making the turns. I know where the place is because I've driven past it several times prior to getting ready to go to this park. And as we're walking, I'm starting to realize this park's a little farther away than I thought it was. And I'm just still walking, and the little one's legs are starting to get really tired because she's small, and we've been walking for probably about 15 minutes at this point, just continuously straight walking. And I'm like, man, we didn't hit this park in 15 minutes? This is insane. Because what they're used to is at that time was a park that we would go to that was maybe 5 minutes from the house. We would just out the door, down one street, make one turn, and there's the park. No big deal. 5 minutes. They just run right to the playground and start playing. But this park is like an eternity away. We're still walking. It's almost like Maui when he's falling in that pit to go to the monsters realm. I'm still falling. We're still walking. Long trip. Then all of a sudden, that 15 minutes turns into about a half an hour. And we still haven't gotten to the park yet. Got a phone call. Oh, you guys having fun yet with my wife? And I'm like, well, we're not there yet. Not there yet. You guys left a while ago. Yeah, I know. We finally get there. And the kids take probably, and this is crazy. We're talking, like I said, it was a 5, a 7, and an 8-year-old. We had to stop, and we took probably, I think it was like 10 minutes, easily, before they started playing on the slides and the equipment. And of course, at this point, there was nobody else there. It was just us. And it was like, I guess it was late May. So the temperatures were like in the mid 60s, low 70s. Was nice. So it was a good little walk. And whew, more like a workout for them and me. Well, we got there and they were just kind of sluggish because they'd been walking for a half an hour. And then I think it was the older two who actually were like, man, we are tired. We were only there maybe 15 minutes. So you consider the fact that we walked a half an hour, we took a break for like 10 minutes, and then they played for 15. And they were just like, no, we're exhausted. We're tired. We don't want to do anymore. And then in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, we got like a half an hour walk back. It's not like we could take a bus from that spot to our house because where we were, the bus would not have traveled to where we were going, so we literally would have had to walk from where we were. And like I said, my car was sitting at home, so we had to hike. And sure enough, after playing for 10 minutes, 15 minutes it was, and then sitting for 10 minutes, that was 25 minutes, and then you add the half an hour walk that we had to take to get there, that was just about an hour that we took. And they played for just a short period of time, and then it was like kind of hike back. And so we walked all the way back. The whole time as we're walking back, the little one's falling behind a little bit and trying to get behind her and make sure that we don't lose her. And here we go. We're going slowly because her legs are really tired at this point. And then we finally get home another half an hour later. But while I was on the walk, it dawned on me that, geez, I way underestimated the distance of how far the park was from the house. Do you think that I was that incredibly foolish to forget that when I'm zipping by in a car doing 35 miles an hour, that I would not recognize how far the distance was from the house to the park? Or did I just come up with a very creative way to make you come with me on a little trip? I'll tell you at the end. Next, those same kids, all three of them, just a little bit younger still. So now we're talking maybe, I guess it was 3, 5, and 6. Because maybe even a little younger than that. Might have been 2. because we're talking about a zoo trip, the good old Philadelphia Zoo. In fact, that's what it was. I believe it was two, uh, 4, and 5 because I had the stroller that we had. Great guy that I used to work with at Pet Boys was good enough to give me a nice stroller once I had the second kid, and it was a two-passenger stroller. Now, this wasn't just any two-passenger stroller. This was a crazy two-passenger stroller that had a unique element to it, which just made it perfect for us. Just incredible. It's almost like he had the foresight to know that we were going to have a third kid. What this stroller did was it had two seats in the front, and it had a spot that was sort of extended out so that somebody could actually stand on the back. So all three could be on the stroller. And it wasn't one of those wide side by side two people strollers that always drive me nuts because I'm thinking to myself, okay, you feel that you need to take up more space than everybody else with your wide two person stroller. No, no, no. This one's more like a motorcycle. So one in the front, one in the back, and then the part that was the other kid could actually stand up in was right behind the the handle where you pushed it. So we didn't take up 6 million miles wide with the stroller. And so I'm pushing this thing and I'm taking everybody around. We're looking at all the animals. Really enjoyed the polar bears. It was kind of neat. And then it happened. I believe it was child number 2 who was actually in the stroller and was like, yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom. Okay, we'll go to the bathroom. So I wheel this monstrosity, float it around, get to the point, get into the bathroom, park it, because this thing is so big and they're so young. Everybody comes with me into the men's room. So I have the 2 year old, which of course was fortunately wearing, I believe, she was potty training or potty trained, but she still had pull ups on. And the other two, I believe, were out of them at that point. Pretty sure. 5 and 6. Yeah, they weren't in pull ups. Just the 2 year old. So I changed the diaper for the 2 year old. The other two are going to the bathroom separately. And I'm watching all this happen. And I have the two stalls where the older two are going to the bathroom. This one's a boy and one's a girl, so they're in different stalls. And I'm changing the little one just outside of the stall. And I'm looking over at the stroller, and some dude is looking at it, and he sticks a hand on it, and he's about to push it out of the bathroom, and I have to call out to him, yo, don't do it. He looks up, he sees me, he then proceeds to run out of the bathroom, leaving the stroller where it is. The only thing I could do was finish up with the kids, get them ready. I had just a really rough, rudimentary description of him. It wasn't great, but once everybody was finished in the bathroom, I got out. I talked to an employee and told him, man, this guy was walking around the bathroom, tried to steal my stroller, and they looked for him for a little while, but he had already gotten out of the park. Who knows what else he stole? Who knows where he was at, what he was doing, but at least he got out of there and we didn't lose our stroller, because that would have been a really unpleasant undertaking to take them all the way back out, because we parked in the parking lot a couple floors up, and that would have meant I would have had to carry the little one. Although she could walk a little bit, let's face it, the 2 year old is only going to be able to walk so far. And as I already mentioned, that very same kid, when she was 6, had a tough time walking that 2 miles that we walked. So probably wouldn't be the best idea to want to have her walk the entire time. Now, did somebody try to steal my stroller while I was in the bathroom with the kids? Or should you just flush that entire story? Next. Oh boy, this one is ugly. Um, this is back when I was getting ready to start to be a corrections officer. One of the things that they needed was a copy of my birth certificate that I could hand them. And of course, I'm the kind of person who says, hey, I'll make sure to have it with me so you don't have to waste any time doing it when I get there. And at the same time, I don't want to have to carry my birth certificate around any further than I absolutely have to. Knowing that I was going to give this to their personnel file and I could just leave and I wouldn't have to think about having, okay, I have my birth certificate in the jail, in my hand, I don't want to lose it. Well, turns out that I get exposed it to a lot more people than just a bunch of inmates at the time. Turns out that I went to go make the photocopy of the license, not license, I had to do that too. The license and the birth certificate, but specifically the birth certificate was the one that was with me at the library. I didn't give them the license until I got to the jail itself. But the birth certificate, I go, I put my change inside the copy machine, hit the button, run off 2 copies. Because the first one, of course, I'm never good at it, and it always comes out weird. So then the second copy was the way it was supposed to be. It looked good. Size was right. Didn't cut anything off. It was perfect. And I grabbed those copies and I started to head out the door. Get to the car, pause for a second, realize that I have 2 pieces of paper, but I don't feel the raised seal on either of them. You know how the birth certificate has a raised seal on it? I pretty much turned into the Flash and just sprinted back into the library, holding the 2 copies, ran to the copy machine, lifted up the little door on top, and it was empty. Turn around, same flash-like speed, run over to the front desk and ask the lady. I just left the copy machine and I just made a copy of my birth certificate and it's not in the machine. I wasn't even a minute and it was out of the machine. And then the lady tells me real fast, I've got it right here. We saw you leave. You turned the corner so fast we didn't notice you didn't see you anymore. So we knew that you were probably going to come back to get it. And so we took it and we put it in the front desk and we left it under here inside the this drawer so nobody could just take it or see it. Probably sweated a gallon of sweat knowing that had happened, and thanked the lady quite a bit, at least 6 times. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's crazy because you just stopped me from letting my birth certificate be just exposed to any fraud or anybody, because see, they grabbed it maybe like 3 seconds after I walked out the door, so nobody else got a look at it. I'm so glad and grateful for that. It was just the best thing that could have happened. Now, do you think that I was so unsecurity minded getting ready to work in a prison that I would leave my birth certificate just laying inside the copy machine at the public library? Or should I get locked up for being a con man on this one. Next, I was given a free pizza from Wawa. That one is simply a statement. I was given a free pizza from Wawa. Did my pizza favors go to my former employee, or is that one just a myth? Next, on one of my favorite roads to drive in New Jersey, the one that takes you straight to Seaside from the end, Route 37. I've seen a lot of crazy things happen, and I've seen just too many. And this one is no exception to that rule. And of course, it was a nice, beautiful day. Because why would anything bad happen on a rainy day on 37? People are trying to get to the beach, people. We don't care about anybody else. We need to get there, and we need to get there quick. If you're in my way, I'm just going to run you over. That's pretty much the way it goes. And if I have to use the lanes that are right there available to me, so be it. If I have to take the shoulder, well, I'm going to take the shoulder. But I'm going to be out there on that sand. And apparently, this person thought just like that. Now, the stretch from Manchester to the end of 37, where you can get to Seaside, is 13 miles. I'm going to say it's around mile 9 or 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. A blue Honda, I'll never forget it, carelessly driving, decided that there was an accident that was happening on the other side. It looked like a car rear-ended somebody, and there was a police car on the side pushing it, like holding up traffic a little bit. And a second car had come up on the other side because apparently this was getting a little bit aggressive. And so this person saw what was happening from the far left lane. Now there's 3 lanes. You got to picture that. 3 lanes on 37 at this point. And this car wants to go down the road as quickly as possible. And they figure, hey, this is happening in the left lane where they're at. So they're going to just try to get out of that lane and just move as fast as they can. So what do? They decide to just pull all the way over the 3 lanes of traffic, get on the outside, and they want to take the shoulder. But what they didn't see was the other police officer on the other side of the street that had just gotten there and stopped and was looking at the situation, but because of traffic couldn't make it all the way around, and they were going to take the jug handle to get around and come back around to where the accident was. And so the police officer was driving relatively slowly because the situation was pretty much contained, and he just wanted to go over there, I guess, to sort of back up the other officer. Now this blue Honda that was running down from the left lane came all the way across to the right lane, and it was going to take the shoulder and just drive straight around past the jug handle. Now, instead of making the right in order to go into the jug handle and turn, this guy was going to just take that area and just go straight forward in the shoulder, cut off the car that was in front of me, and then just keep going down the road. How do I know? Because you could tell that that was the plan. He was not aiming for the jug handle. As he's going to make this move, the police officer is making a relatively safe 25 mile an hour track to get around to start going around the jug handle. Slows down, and this car, bang, rear ends the police officer. I casually drive by. At the time, not a first responder, wasn't a corrections officer. I was just a kid who just saw somebody do something really, really stupid. And I just moved down the road. Because now I'm thinking to myself, okay, so now you just did all that damage and then you hit a cop. That's going to look really good on your driver's report. Do you think I saw somebody rear end a police officer on Route 37? Or was that not the case? Finally, you know what? This one is one of my favorite ones because it turns out that my daughter, the youngest one, been a bit of an athlete this year. She played basketball and softball for the local team. Not quite old enough to do it for her school yet. Turns out that this year she also did a camp for basketball and softball. While at the the basketball camp, she actually ran into a very interesting set of people who came in to be guests. Now, the one guest, which is the one that I'm about to bring up, is one of a very interesting group of people. I think one of the coolest people you could possibly meet as far as being in Philadelphia and um, surrounding yourself with basketball, especially college basketball. Turns out that our original home was very near St. Joe's University, and of course, back in the around 2015 ish area, Phil Mazzari, I know I'm saying his name wrong, was the head coach of the St. Joe's basketball team. He actually showed up at my daughter's camp and talked to the kids. It's a really good opportunity to hear from a high level coach. These are really, really young girls. 11, 12-year-old girls get to hear the perspective of a high level coach. It's a lot of fun. It's a great opportunity. And I'm glad that she was able to go to the camp and take advantage of that opportunity. Now, my question is, do you believe that the former St. Joe's coach, Phil I know I'm saying his name wrong, sorry, coach, Phil Mazzoli, went to this basketball camp for 10 and 12 and younger girls? Or am I just dribbling around in circles? I'll let you know real soon. Okay, that's all I've got for you. That's fact or fiction. Those are my stories, and I'm sticking to them. Well, at least some of them. Or maybe none of them. I don't know. We'll find out. This is where I'm going to give you a couple seconds to sort of decide what you want to do. You can either figure out if you can determine which ones were fact and which ones are fiction, or you can always hit the pause button, take as long as you like. But as of now, I'm going to give you that time by being quiet for a little bit. Okay, it's safe to say that if you wanted to take more time, you'd have hit pause by now. So, which ones were fact? Which ones were fiction? Or were they all fact? Or were they all fiction? I've done that before. Let me tell you, I underestimated the distance that I that the park was from my house when I was taking the kids there. Well, even the best of us make mistakes at time, and like I said, it was an unfamiliar neighborhood that we moved into at the time, and it was during COVID, so we took that time to just sort of take a little walk outside, go to the park. It was open, and like I said, I was coming from work a lot of times, and I'd hit that angle off of the 95 exit, and I would see this park, and it would be real close to the house. So I just assumed we could make that no big deal. Never mind, I had just been coming off of 95 doing about 70, and then doing 30 the rest of the way off the exit to get to the house. Yeah, it was about 2 miles, maybe a little bit more than 2 miles, and we never went back to that park because there wasn't really anywhere to park the car, and to walk was a trip. So, yeah, that one's a fact for sure. Next, while going to the zoo, somebody tried to steal my stroller. Well, let's face it, at that time, I had those kids and they were little, and I had to take them anywhere I was going to go. If I was going to go to the store, I took them with me. If I was going to go to a video game store, I took them with me. If I was going to go outside to go take out the trash and my wife wasn't home, well, I'm grabbing everybody. We're going down the stairs and we're taking out the trash. I wouldn't let them be in a position where I was going to be out of their sight for long. Not that I was going to be a helicopter, but it would have been a position where they wouldn't be able to get to me, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So if there was this place that I was going to end up having to be where they weren't going to have access to me immediately, then I would always take them with me. Now, all the time in the bathroom, I would have to take everybody into the men's room. The two girls would go right with me, and that's just the way it was. Um, Especially if I was by myself. If I had to go to the bathroom, if they had to go to the bathroom, either way, all of us took the trip together. And now, if somebody were to be stupid enough to have tried to take that stroller, it would have been a very long day for them. And needless to say, it wasn't a very long day because that person did not exist and nobody tried to take my stroller. That one was fiction. Next, I left a copy of my birth certificate, the actual birth certificate, in the copy machine at the library. Well, you know, I definitely believe in measure twice, cut once. So I'm really bad at that. So when I do go to make copies of things, I go and, like I said, totally accurate. I would put my item, whatever it would be, birth certificate, inside the copy machine. I would lift it up, and I'd put the thing down, then I'd make a copy, see if the copy's any good. Usually it's not good the first time. I hit the button the second time, and it's good. Usually the second time, because after I messed up the first one, I knew that the second what to do for the second one, and it happened every single time I ever made a copy. Then, without clockwork or even thinking about it, what I would do next is I would pick up the thing where the copy goes in, I'd pull it out, and I would put it back in my container that I usually bring with me, and then I would open it a second time just to make sure, even though I physically knew that I did it. And then I would always have what I would copy with me, and it would never be an issue. Now, of course, for purposes of this story, I didn't go into my procedure completely on how I would make sure that I double checked everything that I did, especially with a document as important as birth certificate. For multiple reasons, for me, it's twice as important to not lose it living in Philadelphia now. For one, it's your birth certificate, and identity thieves would love to get their hands on it. And number two, I was actually, like I've said 1,000 times, I'm from New Jersey, and I was born in a hospital in Toms River, New Jersey, which means in order for me to get a copy of my birth certificate, I would have to take the trip all the way down to New Jersey, which would require crossing the bridge, paying the toll all the way back, a large amount of gas. If I'm down there, I would have to go to Capone's because Capone's is right next to the place where I'd have to go to get. Well, Capone's is the pizza place, my favorite pizza place, the best pizza place on earth. I would have to go there because it's right across the street from the place where I would get a copy of my birth certificate. So it would be an entire all day undertaking. It would take me easily from home now to that spot an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes to get there. So it would be that in the reverse. So we're talking 3 hours of driving time back and forth, plus an hour to eat because, like I said, I'm not going to not go to Capone's while I'm down there, and the gas and the tolls and it would be a slight hassle, with the exception of the pizza. So I don't want to have to do that. So I'm going to make sure that those documents like that are literally close to the vest. And of course, this never happened. I did not leave my birth certificate in the library copy machine. The statement, one of the rare times that I just come up and just have a statement. I was given a free pizza from Wawa. Now, this would sound, under normal circumstances, I guess like 3 years ago, it wouldn't make any sense. Because Wawa didn't sell pizza up until about 3 years ago. And the pizza that they sell is garbage. So much so that if you were to have gotten one originally and paid the $14 or $16 for their pizza, you would have literally thrown away gas money. Or you could have taken the pizza money that you spent at the Wawa pizzas and you could have bought a real pizza from somewhere. If you're living anywhere near where I'm at, I suggest Allegros. No, they're closed. Allegros is the place that's closed. The place that's good now, my goodness. Aldo's, great place. And Marcella's, which is not too far away from where I'm at. Those are good pizza places. And I don't often say that there's many good pizza places in Philadelphia because, to me, from New Jersey, there really aren't that many. But I recommend those two. But on that note, you would also think that, oh, maybe he had pizza when he was in New Jersey working for Wawa and he just took one. But then you're asking yourself, well, then they didn't make pizza back then. He said he was there from 99 to 2007. They didn't have pizza then. Well, yes and no. In 1999, 2000, that early time, Wawa had some very interesting products that they don't have now. And it was the genesis for a bunch of the stuff that they do have now. Started selling stuffed pretzels, and they had things called Bolies, which were like Strombolis. Wawa used to make those things, and they were pretty good, but they were discontinued because they were had a relatively high price point for the time. It was like, I think it was like something like $5 to $6 for a Boli. too many people bought them. Think of them as like a hot pocket, but maybe twice the size of a regular hot pocket. That's about what those were. And then there were other things that Wawa would have that many people never heard of. And among that list would have been pizza. Wawa had what they called test stores. And what they would do is they would roll out new products in areas that had a fairly decent and mixed sort of population. And they would put their testing products in these stores. And they would see how they would run for maybe a few months. And one of the things that they did at the test store that was very near the college that I went to at the very end, Mercer County College, was they had pizzas. And without the assistant manager knowing that I was even an employee with the company at the time, and I was about to go buy a couple of them, I'm like, hey, you know what, I want to get a couple of these pizzas because they were about the size of a Pizza Hut pan pizza, and they tasted very similar. They were very good, unlike the garbage that they make now. Oh, it's terrible. Even if they lower the price, it's still not worth your money to go buy it. Just saying. But truthfully, they did in fact have these pizzas at the test store, and it never got any farther. And this is in 2000, and they had finished their test with those by the summer of 2000. Before I left school, they had finished up the test on the pizzas. And needless to say, I went in there. I was going to go buy a couple. The assistant manager looked at me and said, "You want those? Yeah, just take them." And of course, he goes, make sure that the cashier told him, those two pizzas that are coming up, no charge, no charge. And of course, there's a reason why there was no charge for those pizzas is because they had just gone out of code. I didn't know what their code was, but I looked at the sticker afterwards, and it was clear that they had gone out of code. But of course, I understood these are still good, not like hot dogs. And I tried those pizzas, and they were good. It was just terrible that they decided to not continue with them. I wasn't happy about it. I thought it was a bad decision, but I don't work for corporate, so what am I gonna do, right? Right. So yes, I did in fact get free pizzas from Wawa in 2000. 37, watching a car rear end a police officer. Now, I often talk about seeing a lot of stupid drivers around. I'm going to tell you right away, there aren't that many in New Jersey. There's a handful, don't get me wrong, there really are. But typically, nobody's going to be that dumb. Maybe out of 1,000 stupid drivers that I've seen two or three that did something that dumb. And truly, this is not one of those times. This is fiction. Didn't see anybody run into a cop. Didn't do it. Finally, my daughter actually met a former coach from St. Joe's and had him talk to the entire group of girls at the camp. Well, the answer to that is yes. She did meet Coach Phil Mazzulli, I believe his name is, or Martelli. I can never remember what his name is. It's terrible. He coached just 10 minutes away from the old house, and I couldn't remember the guy's name. But yeah, she met him, and he talked to the girls that were at the camp, and it was a pretty good experience for her. I don't know if she's going to now end up being um, Cheryl Swoops or Lisa Leslie from his words of wisdom that he spoke to them. But it's always neat when somebody that high profile actually takes some time to speak with kids. So yeah, she did meet with that really good St. Joe's basketball coach. On that note, I'm going to ring the bell and gonna end the main event. And we're gonna go to the spear of the week. What is the spear of the week? Well, the spear of the week is gonna be kind of funny actually, because it's not actually a person, but it's about technology. Granted, I love the tablet that I use to record the shows with now. It's my primary recording source. But because I had a couple of technicalities, one, I cut off a show because it ran out of power. Another time, it had some little glitchy thing going on with it. And so, I don't like to save more than two shows on the tablet at a time. So, I can't do what I did at one point where I would just load up sometimes 3 and 4 episodes on my phone. There was a point where I had as many as 5 episodes recorded, and during that time, I would just be like, I'd go crazy with all this information. I'd go weeks. In fact, the one time I actually had 6 episodes recorded, so I had a month and a half where I didn't have to record a single show. All I had to do was post. Now, I'm gonna give this the benefit of the doubt. Um, I like the way it looks, I like the way it sounds, I like all that stuff, but the spear of the week has to be the battery of this thing. It is, because the battery gets me in trouble. That's why I don't know if I'm going to record another show now. I might not. We'll see. Spear of the week, battery life of my tablet. Now, let's see what we have here. What do these three things have in common? Oh boy. Let's see. This one's pretty easy. I want to get myself a nice win streak, so I'm going to go with this one. Although another one, this is the official one. The Asian pit viper, the Mexican bearded lizard, the brown recluse spider. That one should be easy because all three of those suckers are poisonous. Yep, absolutely. And I just messed up because the one that I wanted to check, I found the answer to. Looked at it too quickly. But I'll still say it because it was fun. Doesn't count on my streak either way, but because I saw the answer. Um, a light switch, a calendar, and a coin. The three things that have this in common is they're all flipped. Flip the page of the calendar, flip the light switch, and you flip a coin. It's all pretty neat, I think. Now, we're gonna go with a question here. That one's a stupid one, and I'm gonna answer it. Didn't take me long to figure it out. And it's going to be pretty obvious what the answer to this question is. Alright, the question is, if given your own show in Las Vegas, what would you do? Well, it's pretty obvious what I would do if I was given a live show on Las Vegas. It would be a live recording of The Lip. What else would I do, right? Well, why, as they say, why reinvent the wheel? I've already got what I want to do, which is this show. So why would I go and try something else? I mean, I'm not going to go juggle. I mean, hey, I do this. I podcast. That's what I do. So it would be foolish of me to attempt to try to do something else. I'd have to really think about it really hard, but that was a no-brainer. I mean, I would simply just do the lip, but it would be live and record it and then put it on YouTube like I would do. That's how that would have to work. They have to be part of my what are those things called, residency contract, where every one of those shows that I do, it's still going to count for my weekly shows for my active podcasts. That's how that would have to go. There's no other way. No other way. And it's now time to shut the door on the show. We're going to go ahead and let you know that, hey, Instagram, Philip Henderson 5102. Check me out. The Lip Facebook group. Join us. Join us. There is room for one more every single time. We have room for one more. Join us. The Lip Facebook group. And of course, the most important thing I could ask you to do is like and subscribe on at the Lip YouTube channel. That's where the show is at. So that's where I need you to be. Now, usually, when it comes to the words of wisdom, I have already picked them out for the episode. Got them already written down, and I've actually already prepared them. But for this episode, I just, for some reason, just felt like going completely random and just pulling out whatever I got and see if it fits, it fits. If not, hey, it's still words that are wise. Oh my goodness. This one finally came up. This is one that I want to put on a shirt because I just think it's funny. And this is the best way to do it. The randomness of it. Okay, I'm gonna go with it. Like I said, this is one that I want to put on a shirt. The words of wisdom are: the only people who like babies are Santa Claus and honest politicians, and neither of them exist. One more time. The only people who like babies are Santa Claus and honest politicians, and neither of them exist. That's the words of wisdom. Alright. Thank you for listening. Just to let you know, but you shouldn't have forgotten that my name is Phil, and you've just listened to The Lip. Can't believe I got that one.